Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast. And today I've got one of our most recent team leaders who has just set up a great project in Southampton and already has opened up another one as well, which she'll tell us about later. But today I'm talking to Jane Odam. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's fine. So you're in the safety of your own car, getting away from the
Yeah,
back of the salon.
that's it.
To get a bit of peace and quiet.
That's it.
Yeah. So let's start where because people won't not everyone to know you. Where did you grow up, Jane? What was your upbringing like?
I'm the fifth youngest of six of us. There's six of us
Really,
altogether. Yeah, and there's 18 months between us all. So
really?
yeah, so my mum had her hands full
Wow.
massively. But I tell a lie. There's there's four, so she had four,
Yeah.
18 months between them all. And then I came along 4 years later and I said, Mum, why did you wait to have me? Was I a mistake? And she went, Well, yeah, you are. I said, Well, why did you have my sister then? She said, Well, I didn't want you to be on your own. So there's 18 months between me and my younger sister.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. With a boy.
yeah. So it was good. We had a great, we didn't have a lot, Mum and Dad
Yeah.
struggled quite a bit bringing six of us up,
Yeah.
but we had their time. So it was really nice. We had a great, loads of arguments, like what it's like when there's loads of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we had brilliant times as kids. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, we got four, and but we had them every 2 years. But
Right.
there's a 2 year gap because we lost twins, and that was the fifth one.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a gap of 4 years because they're 2 years. We had the twins, but we lost those, and then so we've ended up with four. But I know what you mean. People say like your house is mad, you know.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you're coming from, what yours was like
Yeah.
when you were young. And as well, you don't, as more you get, the less that you all get, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I remember my brothers, we'd sit down and Dad would call us, say like dinner's ready.
yeah,
And we'd all sit down, and of course, my brothers would row. One would have more potatoes than the
yeah.
others. And then my dad would say, But Jesus Christ, I've come here and had my tea. And you're arguing all the time. He said, Jesus Christ, children should be seen and not heard. So he'd have that Dublin drawl. So yeah, so he would really like go mad, and then my mum would just stare. And then we'd all moan because we didn't like the food. But she'd say, if you never ate it, we weren't getting any more. So we had to eat it. So but it was fun. We didn't have a lot, I'll be honest,
Yeah,
but we had it was such a lovely family, if you know what I mean. It was
yeah,
it was great. So yeah, it was good.
yeah. And so where
Um,
was that? Where did you grow up? 'Cause I
so
heard the
I
accent, so obviously Irish parents.
yeah, apparently I have a very good Dublin drawl, so I can
Yes.
talk like that all the time if you want me to. No,
Yeah.
my dad, yeah, so my dad's from Dublin. We were brought up in Southampton.
Right.
And literally all my life I've been in Southampton.
Right.
So, but we had to go to like church, be brought up as a little proper Catholic. We went to convent school.
Right.
So we did everything that you're meant to do. But it got to a point that I then became about 13. I thought, I don't want to go to church. And so dad would give me money to go to church to put money in the plate. But I'd say to my sister, let's go up to the fun fair, use the money. Don't tell dad, because he stopped going because he was working on Sundays then. And we'd pinch like this prayer thing you had to have, and we'd pinch it, go back to the house, and then make out we'd been to church. So we
Right.
did that for a while, and then we got caught. And then I said, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to go to church every week. So I have my opinions. I was quite strong-minded, even at a
Yeah.
young age. So
Yeah.
really strong-minded. Yeah,
Me and my
yeah,
sister did that from Sunday school, and I remember going swimming instead. You know,
yeah.
but I think my mum knew all about it all the time anyway, and I can't remember whether it's me persuading my sister to go or her persuading me, but she'll say it was me anyway. Probably was me.
That's it. You got to do these things. It's who you are, isn't it?
Yeah,
What you do. But no, I must admit, I did. We did have some laughs,
yeah, yeah.
but but then I was like really strong minded, started colouring my hair at. I think I was 11.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So I remember going to school, and we had this. She was Italian, and I loved her. Every day she had like a different colour streak through here.
Yeah.
So I said, Miss, what? How do you colour your hair? She goes, I use food colouring. So that was it. Straight home, mum's food colouring. I'd have green, pink, yellow, you name it, all different colours. So that was my hair career.
That's
And then
where you got started.
then I put bleached it when I was 13.
Nice.
Then I shaved it off one side, so I wanted a mohawk, and then dyed it jet black. And I did it, to be honest, no, I did it. I reckon I did it to get attention.
Yeah.
Because there were so many of us.
Yeah.
I wanted to be different. And you know what? My mum did the best thing ever. I walked downstairs. I literally tried to cut one side of my hair off. I couldn't do it properly, so I got my dad's Bic and then started literally, and there's bald patches. It was horrendous. Big bald patches. It was horrendous. And I come downstairs and she laughed. And so I was so upset. I went upstairs. I got the other side. Thought, right, I'm going to take the parting over so you can't see it. And I went to school and I showed my friends because it was when New Romantics were in, you know, like
I remember.
Human League, all that lot. So I really wanted to be like them. And I remember my friends going, oh my God, I can't believe it. What have you done? I goes, what have I done? This is the trend. You've got to have it. And I swear to you, those poor girls, in lunchtime, I took them up to the needlework room. I literally got scissors and I cut one half of their hair off so they could be like me. I hated it, but I didn't want to be the only one. So I literally took half the hair off, literally. So we all went round together thinking we were it, you know.
You couldn't have been anything else but a hairdresser, could you, really? Like,
No.
after that start, there's no way you could have been anything else. But did you go straight from school?
No, I wanted to. I got obviously pregnant quite young. I was only 15 and a half.
Really?
So yeah, so I was really young and never told anyone till I was 7 months pregnant.
Right.
So went to school, done the old trampolining, swimming, and everyone said, how did you hide it? But in them days we wore pinafores.
Right.
So probably people probably thought I just put on weight.
Yeah.
So literally I just, can you hear all right? Because yeah. So I just wore this pinafore, no one knew. And I was going out with I ended up marrying him, but we met at 14. Right. He was 15. And so then when I got pregnant, he was 16, I was 15.
Yeah.
I think it's about a month before my 16th birthday.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell a soul. I thought I cannot tell nobody.
Yeah.
And then eventually I think I went to one of my friends met me in the morning to go to school. And I was at a convent school, all nuns.
Right, yeah.
So literally going to school and I passed out, I fainted. And my mum said to me, I said, Mum, I fainted. She said, oh, you best get to the doctors then. She didn't take me. You best get to the doctors. That's how times have changed. Yeah. So I went to the doctors, but I didn't want her to come anyway. So I knew deep down. And then they said, oh, 7 months pregnant, blah, 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 blah. So then I went to my boyfriend's house and said, what are we going to do? He said, we can't tell anyone. He said, what we'll do is we'll go to Brighton and we'll run away. You get on the back of my motorbike and we won't say nothing. So, but then my senses came. And you know what? My mum was so naive. I did go home for hours and hours. And I think it must have been about 12 o'clock at night. And I walked in, she started crying. She thought I had like cancer or something. And I didn't want to tell her. Seriously. And my then boyfriend, he put his crush arm on his head. So if my dad hit him, it wouldn't hurt. But yeah, my dad didn't do anything. So he just went mad. And my mum was amazing. She was amazing. Yeah. So, and I was adamant that I was keeping this child. And then do you remember we had like the songs Bedsit Land? We all we want to do, leave home and live in a bedsit.
Yeah. So
I said to my mum, don't worry about it. I won't cause you any problems. I'm going to get a bed set and I'll bring up this child on my own. And she said, no, you're not. You'll come home and we'll help you. So, yeah, so that's what happened. So I had my first child. I didn't do my exams. I told my school I had a hairdressing job. I lied. Right. And So anyway, had my baby, didn't do my exams, and then wanted, look, you need to get yourself a job. It do the world a good. So I said, okay. So I started working at the hospital, helping out. And then this woman said, you'd be a really good nurse. I said, do you reckon? She went, yeah. So I started nursing.
Right.
And then it was a thing, like you were auxiliary, and then you went on to SEN. They don't do any of that anymore.
No.
But yeah, so I was a nurse for a few years. But I loved that communication with the patients.
Yeah.
You know, loved it. I got so close to him, but I was too emotional. I used to cry all the time, go home. But I couldn't do hair because it never allowed me to, because it was a day job.
Yeah.
So when I did the nursing, I did nights. So it was
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I did nursing, did that for 7 years. And then I had my second child at 19. Obviously, I got married at 18.
Yeah.
And then I went into hairdressing, I think, how old was I? 22.
Right.
Yeah. So my college, my nursing paid for my private college. So I paid for it myself, did it all myself.
Yeah.
And I remember my first job, obviously I'm not going to mention names, but he
No.
was this, I think he was Maltese or something.
Right.
You know what? All I want was experience. And this guy said, you come work for me. I pay you. I do best. I went, oh, all right then. So I started working honestly, I started working for him. Do you know what he used to do every Saturday? Tell him to hold my hands out, and he used to pay me like £15 in like change. Like
Really?
literally, yeah, in change. So, and I just felt so degraded. And when I used to go there, he used to make me clean his flat, make his bed. I said,
No.
yeah, nothing to do with her. So I said to him, after about a month, I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. So I said, oh, I'm leaving. He said, you leave me? I did best. You never get better training than me. I thought, oh, I'm leaving. So I left.
Not making bed, you won't.
No. Yeah. So I carried on and carried on. I think I worked somewhere in Winchester. I travelled miles to get
Yeah.
there because I really wanted to do hair. So yeah, so I just literally got myself all through that. And then eventually I retrained myself, went up to Beadhouse Sassoons in Mayfair.
Right.
Went to the academy, paid for that myself. I got my through, and that gave me even more training and more, because I felt every time I went to work somewhere, I was just, I don't know, it was just cut hair. I didn't want to just cut hair. I wanted to be the best I could possibly be and
Yeah.
give everyone the best experience. So
Yeah.
for me, it was never about money, never.
No.
So I did it because I loved doing it. And I think I loved doing it because it made people feel.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Do you find that though with hair? It's what you can do for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I've said this many times, I've lost a bit of that. And it wasn't until I started doing what we do that I got that back.
Yeah.
But that makes me understand a lot more about you. Like, because the thing in these instances, we have a lot of correspondence. If people know how Haircuts4Homeless works, we have a lot of correspondence before, and we don't know each other. It's all done via emails and Zooms and things like that. My sister does a lot of it. And it's not until we have the actual day itself when we launch somewhere.
Yeah.
You meet, and even then we're very busy. We may have a coffee.
Yeah.
But hearing your story now makes perfect sense why you jump straight into it so comfortably, because that nursing background.
Yeah.
If you mix nursing and hairdressing, you've got the perfect mix for what we do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think nursing, I liked it, but I got too involved. I think I cried a lot. I got a bit emotional. I'm quite a softie. I put on a big front, so with that, I found it quite difficult, especially when you're looking after someone and they pass away. But with hairdressing, it's different. It's you do have people like are having problems in hair, and you help them, cancer, whatever. But with this, I felt it was different, and I always want to be a hairdresser, always from day dot, literally from cutting my dolly's hair when I was like 5. Do you know what I mean? And my brother's cutting it and making holes in their faces and God knows what. But I always wanted to do hairdressing. That was my dream, to be the best I possibly could be, basically.
So when did you first get your salon? So you was working for other people. When did you first get? Your
So
own.
that was by accident. I worked. Well, every time I worked somewhere, every single place I worked, I trained. I did it off my own back,
Yeah.
like, because I hate people struggling. So I'd say, look, stay behind. I'll help you. And they go, oh, really? I go, yeah, yeah, I'll help you. So I used to help people cut hair, like show them how to do it. And I'd get so much from that from youngsters, like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. So I sort of got myself that sort of position. But whenever I worked anywhere, I was never helped. No one ever motivated me, inspired me. I was always the one inspiring everybody else. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was thinking, but I need something. And I never got it. So that's why I used to take myself off on courses.
Yeah.
And like Instagram now is amazing. These youngsters
Oh,
have
yeah.
got it at their hands.
Yeah.
I mean,
YouTube.
it wasn't like that for us. We'd have, like, remember the magazines? What haircut you
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd flip
Yeah.
through the magazines. We'd have to spend thousands on courses going to London.
Yeah.
Now they just got to go onto Instagram and, oh, that's how you do a foliage or a balayage.
Yeah.
They have it, honestly, they don't realise the
Yeah.
difference between what it was like for us
Yeah.
compared to what the hell they have it. They've got it
Yeah.
at their feet, really.
Yeah.
So, and then fashion comes around
Yeah.
and you think, oh, I've done that. It's come back. It's got a twist, but
Yeah.
I've done that. So anyway, so I felt like nobody motivated me. And then I had a bit of ding dong with one of my bosses, and I thought, I'm leaving. So I left. And then I said to my husband, he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to have to put my CV around. And all I kept thinking was, oh my God, I'm going to be, sorry, it's a train just gone past.
I can't hear it.
There's like, yeah. I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? Literally, I don't think I can work for anybody. So one of my friends said, oh, why don't you run my salon? You know, I'm off. The keys are here. So what do you think? I went in and I thought, no, this ain't for me. It's not the right area. I don't think my clients would fit their Mercedes up on that drive. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I don't know. It's just not quite right. So then I thought, do you know what? Stuff it. I'm going to open up my own business. So I saw the salon I'm in now. That was 15 years ago. And my husband said, it's right next to another salon.
Yeah.
Next door. And I said, it's fine. I said, I've got loads of clients. It'll be fine. I'll do it. So it was 2008, May 28th, 2008. I said, I'm going to do it. It will work. It will work. And he said, you sure? So I had a chat with the girl. And now I look back, that poor girl that owned that salon next door, no wonder she was angry.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think of it like that. And I thought, even though she had a different client base, it was completely different.
Yeah.
But I had it in my view, there's enough work for everybody. And I thought, in Southampton, we've got Bedford Place. There's 21 hairdressers in a half-mile radius.
Yeah. I've seen it many times in different places.
And they're all busy.
Yeah.
So I knew it could work.
Yeah.
So, but obviously at the time, she didn't think it would. But it didn't. We didn't affect her business. Yeah. We had our own client base. Yeah. And I think eventually she got busier. And if we couldn't fit people in, we'd send them next door.
Yeah, it does.
Go next door. Yeah.
It does happen. And sometimes it's a different, I mean, the thing with hairdressing, with people who don't understand, it's multi-layered levels of hairdressing. And they're not, you know, they serve different needs. It's like you get, you know, even with like in catering, you get like you get your fast food restaurant, you get your Michelin star restaurant, you know, your builder's cafe, but they all do a different thing and serve a different purpose. So some of these things can live alongside each other anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what, and we actually became friends, really good friends at the end of it. And it was great. And since then there's been another salon open, she left, somebody else took it over. Now it's a beautician's now. Yeah. So they've sort of like changed around and everything's going well. So I think that's what got me into it, to be fair. I think just doing my own thing and sorry, Stuart, you went. Fell down. Sorry. Right. You're right. Oh, you fell down.
Oh, again. It's gone again. Yeah. Hello.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there. Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, fine. It's gone. Stay. Yeah, so I think that's the reason behind it, to be fair. And I love what I do. All my staff are employed, every one of them. I
Yeah.
train every single one of them, and they've all started with me from since 16, 17, 18. They're now, for some, I think Dean's 30. I thought he'd kill me if I get this wrong, but I think he's 34.
Right.
Natalie's 36.
Yeah.
We've got Seth, she's with me 10 years. So
Yeah.
they don't, and the ones that do go, they've normally given it up.
Right.
So my real lovely staff members that have stayed with me for years are still with me.
Yeah.
I tend to keep majority of them. They
Yeah.
90% of them stay. The ones, but all the ones I've trained, bar one, have all stayed.
Right. That's
So
great. And that's
yeah,
against the average, to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah. So it says a lot about you.
yeah. I think it's
You know,
a
it does.
team, isn't it? It's a
Yeah, yeah,
team,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
definitely.
So what drew you to contact us? I mean, we had a coffee after when we done the first session. And
Yeah.
I remember you saying to me that you've been stalking me for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
And you actually said to me that you saw the video of me shutting my lights off in my salon.
Yeah. I did.
That really
Yeah.
hit me. I thought, my God, because that was in November. That'd be 5 years ago.
Yeah. So that was a long time ago,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
I've already been
remember.
doing it a long time, but alongside being a hair salon owner, it wasn't until I lost the business that then it became a full-time thing. But it was sort of running both before that. And going way back, it was just me on my own and doing it on my
Yeah.
days off and stuff like that before it became how it is now. But so so you'd seen it for quite a while, but what made you then take the plunge?
I think for me, it was like obviously seeing you and
Yeah.
seeing, and I found you very, very inspiring. I thought, oh, sorry, Stuart, I'm
That's
gonna
all
have
right. It's fine.
is it, am I gone? I'm gonna have to
Oh,
hold that.
yeah, you're there. You're there.
Is it there? Right, keeps
Yeah, yeah.
falling down. It's on the dash of the stupid car.
That's fine.
Right. I always say it right. It's all right. Yeah.
It's a
So
comedy
I found,
moment.
yeah, I better not fall. Yeah, I found you quite inspiring, and I thought, wow, that's just amazing. And I know how hard it is to start up a business and then shut it.
Mm.
Even now, I think, how am I ever going to retire?
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine never cutting hair. I think I saw on Instagram someone that was 82
Mm.
cutting hair. That would be me.
Yeah.
That will be me.
Yeah.
So then I saw what you were doing, and I just like looked through it, blah blah blah, and I watched you quite a bit in lockdown. And I think you were saying about the weather. Look, I'm moaning about this bloody weather, but look where I'm going. And then you come back and you were saying, I've got no problems.
I remember that night.
Yeah, and so
It was pissing down that night.
yeah, it was. And you were
At the
saying
right
you got up and you were moaning about the weather, and then you thought, well, if that's the only problem I bloody got. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember that night. I remember where I was going. I was going Knightsbridge that night.
Yeah, and I remember, and I watched it all, and I thought, wow, I really would love to do something like that. That is just amazing. And you
Yeah.
know what it's like when you got business and you like, then it gets put back again. And then I thought one day, do you know what? I'm going to bloody contact him, and I'm going to do it because I spoke to quite a few people, and there's no one in this area, in particular, Southampton or Winchester, that actually has, something booked in, somebody doing it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of salons around
Yeah.
here. So, there's a lot of hairdressers. So for me, I felt what you did, I thought was amazing. And I thought, I want to give back because I've now got to that point in my life that I feel I've come to a point that, I've got a great team, I've got a good salon. I don't take it for granted. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I want to give back, because that's why I started it. It was to make people feel good about themselves.
Mm.
And then when I contacted you, and then like I said to you, it took a lot to get somewhere.
Yeah, you was very persistent because you kept getting knockbacks, didn't you?
Yeah.
A while, didn't it, to get the right place?
Yeah, because no one seems to sort of like, no one's bothered. They just said, oh yeah, try this one. Oh, contact this person. So then I kept contacting people, and they were like, try this one. No, we don't do that. We don't do this. We don't. And I'm like, I'm trying to offer a free haircut. I do not know what to do. And I sent the videos that you sent me. I sent them all the stuff, told them about the insurances and whatever, all taken care of. And then eventually my sister helped me out. I said to you, didn't I, about her? So she works for a company called she goes around and she's like a, God, she's gonna kill me now because I've forgotten now.
She likes social
I'm
work,
sorry.
I think.
So she's a crime prevention officer.
Crime prevention, right? That's it.
Officer, yeah.
Yeah.
So she used to be a police officer. She retired, and basically, a bit like me, she's now gone in to do something like this because they said she was too good, and they wanted her to carry on doing this sort of thing. So
Yeah.
she's in contact with a lot of people in Southampton.
Yeah.
So she said, "Let me get the word out." Next minute, I got an email, and that was Patrick House.
Yeah.
So she said, "It is, you know, the type of place that,
Yeah.
you know, it's not easy."
It's the
So
type of place I love.
yeah, yeah. So you've got a lot of people on hard drugs, you know. So
I love it.
yeah,
I was in Cardiff last week and we pulled up and with this place and I'm so weird. Like there was a lot of like, you know, like crack addict, you know, like type proper heavy
yeah,
using people. And it was really, and like I was corbling, this is going to be a good one. This I can't, and I was all excited, you know.
yeah,
Other people think, oh, I don't like, oh, I want to get out of here. I'm like, I can't wait to get in there, you know. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
brilliant, and so was Patrick House, you know. But it's where you meet the great people, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. You meet like honestly, do you know what? When we went back, seriously, there was a guy in there. He was ex military.
Yeah,
I've never seen someone so smart.
yeah,
Seriously, his trainers were so white,
yeah,
I couldn't get my head around it.
yeah,
And he just looked so smart.
yeah,
And he said to, you never met Nicole, but Nicole's she joined us last time we went.
yeah,
And she's only tiny. She's only about 5 foot. And he's massive. So he asked her for a fade and she was a little bit nervous. But he
yeah,
sort of had this way about him. Everyone respected him.
yeah,
So a bit of a hard nut,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
And he sort of said, oh, I'll just come out of prison, you know,
yeah,
chatting away, blah, blah, blah. But he was really nice.
yeah,
And then she did it, was really happy. Next minute, he come in with a great big bag of chocolate for her
yeah,
and said, thank you.
yeah,
You know, it's like then the other girl, someone brought in a big box of cappuccinos for her.
yeah.
You know, Rachel, she did someone. He goes, oh, here's some cappuccinos. This little man,
I know.
the last time.
Yeah,
So it was, but it was a bit crazy. We went back and all sorts was going on. Honestly,
yeah,
people are like, can I have a cigarette? Oh, and then it's like something else. And then, yeah, it was a bit mad. But I understand. I think they open up though, don't you? You go back again and
yeah,
they sort of open up.
yeah. Takes a
Yeah,
while to gain trust.
yeah,
But
definitely.
people have been, they're not very trusting.
Yeah,
Rightly so, because they've been, you know, for whatever reason, some of it their own fault, but they've still been like, you know, taken advantage of a lot. So it takes a lot for them to trust people, you know.
yeah. And I found that. I think it definitely opened my eyes a lot and made me feel quite sad that these people aren't getting as much help as they should. I don't think. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, they're not. No.
Because like you say, we're cutting their hair and sometimes the conditions aren't brilliant. And you just look around, you think these are human beings, you
Yeah.
know. And who's to say that wouldn't have happened to any of us?
Oh,
That could have happened to any of us. We don't know. We just picked a different route,
yeah.
you know. So I don't think we should penalise them, and I don't think people know enough about. It's made me a lot different since I've been doing it. You know, the way I look at people now
Yeah.
is I've never been judgmental with homeless people because I always think there's a reason, but
Yeah.
it's made me think deeper about them now. Now that I've done this, it makes me think, you know, they wouldn't choose to live their life like that. Their life must be pretty crap for
Yeah.
them to have to be in this position.
Yeah.
And they've had to gone through a hell of a lot to be in that position.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I do, for that reason, I do, yeah, it does. I can't explain it how it makes me feel massively. Yeah, it's quite touching.
Yeah.
And you don't want to take them all home. Like my husband calls me Mother Teresa. He says, I want to take everyone home and look after everybody.
Yeah.
But then, like, that's not a bad thing, is it?
There's worse things to be.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think for me, yeah, it is. It's very rewarding. I mean, it's more rewarding. Sorry to all my clients if you
Yeah.
manage to listen to this.
Yeah.
It's more rewarding than cutting someone's hair in the salon.
even though that is very rewarding.
It is.
If you do all that training and you do, and
Yeah.
you're conscientious and you want to do a good job, and someone loves what you've done and
Yeah.
comes in a bit fed up, goes out like on cloud nine, and you show them the back, and then they're really
Yeah.
happy. That's a buzz.
Yeah.
In respect to that, what we do in these sessions is
Yeah.
times 10, because
Yeah.
you've got to remember the point of view of the person is coming from such a down position to be
Yeah.
lifted up, and it takes your breath away. So it brings it, even after these years, sometimes it brings me close to tears, and
Yeah.
sometimes they get close to tears as well, or in tears, because they've been treated all of a sudden. They've been treated like a decent human being, which generally they are.
Yeah. Because I think that's how they feel, don't they? When we go in, they they're very nervous. I found when you first do them, it's like they need their water. They don't speak a lot. They're very fidgety. Do you not find? And then once you start like talking to them, grabbing their shoulder, trying to make them relax, then they seem to sort of relax, and then you can see them really enjoying it. And then
You feel them melt a bit in the chair, don't you? They sort
oh
of
yeah,
melt down a little bit, and you think, oh, I'm getting through to them now.
yeah. And it's just like that. I remember the first time when you came for the opening, and that lady, she shaved all our friend had shaved her hair underneath or something, and she was really nervous. I said, oh my god, what the blinking hell's happened under your hair? She said, oh, my mate shaved it. I went, you, and I just looked at her and I said, listen here. I said, from now on, you tell your mate to freaking leave your hair alone. From now on, your hair is my property, and I'll be coming back and doing it again. Said, oh, and then as soon as she came back,
so chuffed, wasn't she?
yeah, she couldn't. She was the first one knocking on the door when we went back.
Yeah.
I goes, what again? It's only been 4 weeks. Yeah, I want it cut shorter. So I did. So I cut it again. So, and she was so happy. And she said about how much confidence it had given her.
Yeah.
She said, honestly, she said, Jane, everybody said to me that they loved my hair. I was the talk of the place. She goes, it gave me so much confidence. I've now applied for college. I think she was doing psychology, something else. And then she said that she's applied for housing as well.
Yeah.
And I found out she used to be a semi-professional gymnast as well.
Right. And then you get people saying, oh, it's only an haircut. Well, they need more important. Well, you just explained why it's so much more than just a haircut. It's just a cliche, but it's so much more than a haircut.
Oh, definitely.
To have that effect on one person. Even if, we drove 2.5 hours or something to get there that day and drove the same back.
Yeah.
If that had been the only person we helped, it would have been worth it.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I'm like. I think to myself, if it takes one person and I can have a positive effect on them, it's worth it, 100%. And to see her little face, and she was so happy. The first time she cried, obviously. The second time she was just beaming, and she was so relaxed. She didn't need her water. She sort of like as if we'd meet up again, oh, Jane, my friend, And then she started talking. But the first time she didn't talk.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we get some of the workers at the centres, and they say a certain person will come in, and I might cut his hair and then have a good chat with him, or her. And then after they've gone, they say, we cannot believe how much they opened up to you. That person doesn't open up to anyone. We never get them to speak or share anything. And so there is something quite special about what we do. That connection thing.
Yeah,
that's the hairdresser thing.
Yeah, definitely. I find that. Yeah, definitely. Because I think when you came the first time, I think Natalie was doing somebody, and the guy came in, and one of the guys at work there, and said, do you know what? He doesn't speak to anybody. He's been here 6 months, and he's talked to you more than he's spoken to anybody. And do you know what? He came back.
Did he?
And had another haircut.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So he actually came back 4 weeks later and had another haircut and never chatting away again.
Yeah.
So that just shows you, because he doesn't know. We don't want nothing from them, do we?
That's it.
Yeah. All we're doing is making them feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never knew that we could have so much. Our skill could give so much. It's more than, it's amazing, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So tell me about because then you've already gone on to do another one as well.
We got two more. We got three now, and then we got another one. She's contacted me. Someone from Salvation Army.
All right, Sally Army.
I think they've got a big venue. I
Right.
think it has about 100 people in there.
Oh, that'll be one of their. I'm sure they call them like life houses. There's only
That's
certain amount in the country, and they are like the big units, and they're always well worth visiting. Like I've done a few of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Sally Army do a wonderful job. Like when I was young and disrespectful, and they come in the pub and banging their tambourine, and you take the mick. You know what I mean? But since I've done this, and it began in Salvation Army in Romford, I've got to know them really well, and it's good and bad in like anything, but they do such a lot generally for the communities where they are. There's so much more than tambourine banging. I'm sure I get in trouble.
I know. I used to
But
think that.
yeah, but they're really active in the community and do things for old people, for young mums, clubs, and a lot for homeless. Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. That'd be really good. I'll have to come back and see you.
Yeah, because they all she said to me was, look, we've seen you on social.
Yeah.
We'd love you to come on board to our venue. So I just said to her, look, just email me all the details, tell me what type of resident you've got, blah 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 blah, and we'll go from there. So they contacted me this week, so I can let you know a bit about that one.
Fantastic.
So we've got Patrick House, and then we've got two women's refuge. They're small, but they house it. One only houses 5, and the other one houses seven residents.
Are they like anonymous safe house type places?
Yeah. So we
don't talk about those, but
no.
Yeah, and that's why I think people who see a lot of our socials often miss the fact that we do a lot of those across the UK, but they don't see them because we can't really shout about them.
No.
Some are female only volunteers allowed in. I've had the privilege of being invited into a few. They've made exceptions for me, and I've found that really. I've struggled with that sometimes because with my daughter, she's open about it, and I've said about it. But my daughter went through a terrible time when she was very young, so it hits a chord with me. The women who go through domestic violence and that, and actually, like I have to always say to people, 1 in 4 women go through it, but also 1 in 6 men.
Really, men.
1 in 6 men.
Wow.
It's that high number, and it's not always a gay relationship.
Yeah.
You've got 2 men. Sometimes it is a straight relationship, so it's a man taking a verbal or physical abuse from their female partner. So and the shame that comes with that is the fact that they can't even, that you've also got the thing. The stigma of society, you've got to be a man, be able to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
If you're brought up, you can't hit a woman. If a woman's bashing you around the head, what are you going to do? It's a tough one.
Yeah.
So So the fact you've already got 2 of them on the go is fantastic work.
And I think for that, like I sort of spoke to you briefly about it. With the women's one, it does resonate with me. Because I feel like, when I'm with my first marriage, I did have like mental and physical abuse. I was the other end of it. So it made me realize, because I said I was so young when I had my children, and again, that strong Irish Catholic family, it was, you had to get married. I felt I had to get married. I had to do whatever I had to do to keep the family together. But then I was with, my ex-husband was quite abusive. So, and just not physically, mentally as well. So eventually you don't realize that I was quite a strong character. Very strong, loads of friends, always wanting to go on to the next thing. but it's a gradual thing. So what they do is they break you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they break you down, and eventually you don't even realize they got control. You know, the fact that you can't wear makeup, the fact that you can't wear certain clothes. You walk into a pub and you've got to look down at the floor, because if you look up, you fancy somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to hit on somebody.
Yeah.
So it's, you can't speak. You know, I've got nothing against gay. I've got nothing against lesbians, gay. I've
Yeah.
been accused of being, you know, because I've had a girlfriend, I'm like a lesbian, or, you know, it's those sort of things. So I'm laughing about it now because I can laugh about it, because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, but I think for me, because of my parents, they took me in for 2 years while I had when I was only 16.
Yeah.
I think and obviously they helped me, this, that, and other. And then I did marry my husband at 18.
Yeah.
Whenever I went through that time, I would call my parents.
Yeah.
They would then let me stay at their house, and sometimes it'd be 6 weeks, sometimes it'd be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But what people don't realise, and I only realise that now, is that impact that would have had on my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people don't, and it has had. They're not overly confident. They're beautiful, both of them are. I know I'm being biased, but they really are.
I've seen your daughter.
But they both have issues. They have confidence issues, 100%. And that's because they've seen what happened to me.
Yeah.
Me not realizing that they're listening and they're hearing stuff is going to have an effect. So I think if I hadn't had my parents that I could run to, I'd have had to go to a safe house, basically. I'd have had to. And that would have affected it maybe even more.
Yeah.
So, and this is what people don't realise. It's not just the mum, it's the children and so forth. And it goes on. And then they grow up, they have issues.
Yeah.
You know? And this just keeps going on and on. So for me, when I went to that women's refuge, I felt quite emotional.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they don't really speak. There's, you probably see it, they've got a lot of, there's just darkness. There's just their eyes. Just so much sadness.
Yeah.
And then they've got their little children with them, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So then when you do their hair, they start to open up. They don't open up as such.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit more happier. But they're just so frightened of being recognised, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. Yeah.
I remember one lady that so sorry to interrupt, but I remember
No.
it was like, and she just blew me away with the way she was casually talking about. Once she started talking, I'm like, she just let it all come out, and you know, the guy was it was the cigarette burns.
Yeah.
It was pulling her fingernails out.
Really?
Yeah. It's pulling her fingernails out, and it's like, but she was sort of saying it almost matter of factly, but I think she detached herself. I think this one happens with trauma with people, that they almost detach themselves from what's happened. Deep down, it's obviously still connected, but sometimes it's really hard to hear that stuff. But then, how I defend myself, I just feel myself full of gratitude. You know, like I did in that video you mentioned when it was pissing down. I just go like, you know, at least, you know, and much like my family's been through it, but at least everyone now is okay. You know? And I've been done stuff, but now they're okay, and we can. Every day's a new day, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think to myself, when I see these ladies, and I go, and I love doing it, you know, and I think, oh my God, I mean, I would never, if they opened up to me, if they did, then, and they sort of asked me questions, I probably would tell them about my experience. But it's not something I would go and talk about to them, because we're there for them. But I feel like I feel a connection, you know, with them, because I feel, you know, I know where you are. I know how, you know, your situation at the moment, and it's just being strong enough to get yourself away from it, and which they've done. haven't they? Being in those places, they've done that first step and removed themselves.
But they'll know that. Even though
Yeah,
you don't say that, I know they seem to sense
yeah,
that they've got a kindred spirit. I mean, it's like the guys and the ladies who were suffering with drink and drug problems. They sent a sense with me without me even saying anything.
yeah.
And it then comes to no shock to me if I say, well, actually, I'm 17 years sober. And, like,
That's amazing.
but
Amazing.
like that. Yeah, it's just, it's sort of, they know. I think they just, like, it takes one to know one, that whole thing, isn't it? I think.
It's mad, isn't it? Do you reckon
Yeah.
they said it then? Do you reckon?
Often, not all, not every time, but often
Yeah,
I think there's a definite, they pick up
yeah,
on a kindred spirit, I think.
yeah. I think that as well. Yeah, it's like you say with this women's refuge. It does. It means a lot to me, and
Yeah.
I think if I can give someone something, then I will do, because I do think, like you say, you've got to. You look back at your life and you think to yourself, how the hell did I put up with that?
Yeah.
You know, how the hell did I become this weak person? And
Yeah.
even like, you get people, don't you? People that have no idea, and
No.
you want to shout at them. They turn around, they say, "Well, why did she leave him?
Yeah.
You know, why is she still with him?" The reason you don't, because that person's got a nice side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that person, then you hold on to that tiny little nice side, and you think, I've got to go back. Um, I've got my kids. I want my kids to have their dad. I want to be a happy family. So you're this fantasy, a fantasist world.
Yeah.
There's never going to happen. And then you go back, you get more crap,
Yeah.
and it happens again. I mean, there's been points that it has been really bad, and
Yeah.
I pulled myself out of it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more a lot of mental abuse. I physical, but a hell of a lot of mental abuse. So my confidence just dropped
I think
completely.
mental sometimes even hits deeper
Yeah,
sometimes. Because the mental tends to go inside. It's sort of
yeah,
like violence, the physical's on the outside, but the mental goes right inside. And it's
yeah,
hard to get rid of. And I think that, you know, people say that, as you say, they say, why didn't they get out of it? But generally, these perpetrators are very clever and cunning and subtle. And generally it's like
mm,
the start of the relationships is love bombing, and they fit, they sort of flood you with affection, and then
yeah,
it's a gradual process. You don't really see it coming. That
no,
gradually it's worse and worse and worse, and it's the isolation. They tend to isolate. They start to
yeah,
pick out things that's wrong with your family and your friends, and
yeah,
they're no good for you, and they gradually want to get you completely to themselves, and it's
yeah,
all about power. And these people, I won't say men because it's people, these people tend to have such chronic lack of power that
yeah,
they can only achieve power if they can achieve it over someone else.
yeah,
It's not an excuse at all.
no,
And I'm not very, I'd love to be very kind and understanding and give, but I know what I'd do with them.
yeah.
I'm not,
It's true.
I'm not that great a human being that I would want to do what I want to
Oh,
do.
yeah, yeah.
But to me, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I did anyway.
But there's no excuses, and no one should hurt anybody. But it's like they go for weak people, don't they? Don't they? Like, these sort of people go for
Go
weak.
for it. Well, go for
They
empaths.
make you weak.
Not weak, but you're kind.
Yeah,
They see that as an opportunity.
yeah,
It's almost like they see it as a chink in someone's armor, that they're, because you
yeah,
constantly want to help and you want to save them. Like you've said
yeah,
all the way through, you want to save these people. So you think, oh, if I could just turn him around,
yeah, yeah,
take it away from the personal view. This is generally what happens.
yeah,
Us. I mean, I am as well. The empathetic people tend to get taken advantage of if they're not careful.
yeah,
People
yeah,
find this for weakness,
yeah.
and then
Good.
as I'm learning as I get older, then I can try and, I'm still not great at it, but I try and differentiate, and I try and still do whatever I can for people, but then I hold back a bit and I pause for thought. So
Yeah.
when people, when I want to run in and go, oh, I'll do that for you, I'll do that for you. I'll go, I'll
Yeah.
see what I can do. I'll give myself a little bit of pause. Yeah, let me see what I can
Yeah.
do, just so I can think about it and think, now maybe I shouldn't be doing that because I'll only resent it afterwards.
Yeah. I'd be like that. I
Yeah,
feel you're
I've
not.
got flipping cheap. Fancy make me do that, and I've gone like, oh, I'll do that. I'm going flipping cheap, letting me do that.
I know. It's you do. You get like that, don't you? It's like my husband said to me, he goes, you always see the good in everybody.
Yeah,
He said, that's not a bad thing.
no,
See, we're the opposites.
yeah,
He's a very good judge of character. So
as well.
yeah, he is amazing. So he meets someone the first time, he
Yeah,
reels them off, and I go, nah, I swear to you, he gets it right every time.
yeah,
I get it wrong every time. Or I try and persuade him that he's thinking wrongly this time.
yeah,
No, 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 that person's no, 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 no. But he's proved himself
yeah,
right. And
yeah.
I said, he said, yeah, I read off to be a psychologist. I'm like, yeah, all right. But that's why we're quite good because I see the good.
Yeah,
He like very like looks at people
see
and
some
can just suss it
reality.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's brilliant. But
yeah.
I am like that, definitely. So there you go.
Oh, there we go. So we've caught up. I just knew we had a chat the other night, and this is why I wanted to get you straight on the podcast because
Yeah,
you reminded me of the effects that doing it had for me when I started. And like
yeah,
you said, it's changed the way you think about things. And
I
I
love
think
that.
it'd be good for people to listen to your story as well, to see that if they're thinking about doing it, um, just do it.
Yeah. And I really do think if you love doing hair and you do it for the right reasons, and that's making people feel amazing, then 100% you'll get so much back.
Yeah,
100%. I love it. I don't think, because I know I'm getting like older, there's going to be, everyone keeps saying, oh, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? I said, no, I'm going to be doing haircuts for homeless until I'm bloody 90, if
yeah,
I'm still around. I
me
will do
too.
it. I will carry on doing it, even when I'm retired. I will do it. Don't matter, does it? I'll fart down there, cut my hair.
Even if it is raining, I will go out and
Yes.
do it.
Yeah. I will do it. I love it. I love it. I really love it.
Fantastic. Well, it's been lovely to meet you, and I know
Yeah.
I'm going to see a lot more of you in the future. But thanks for giving me your, valuable time up today. And I'll put all the links on to
Yeah.
anything. If any links that come up about the charities that we support, we
Yeah.
put them there as well, and anything else that want us to put on there, I'll make sure I do that at the end as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And thank you so much for your time. You're amazing. I'm so glad I'm part of Haircuts for Homeless Family. Mwah. Take care. Bye.